Hello everyone, welcome to Homeschool, and today we are with a revision video on a chapter carbon and its compounds, and this is the most important chapters for board examination point of view. Application based questions can be asked, and for that you need to have an 100% clarity on each and every concept. So I am going to revise each and every concept briefly in this video. And if you want more details about a concept, you can go through the description area where we have uploaded all the video links, particularly on this chapter. So you can have a look in a description area, whichever concept you want in detail. Okay. Coming to a chapter, first and foremost, okay, we discussed about the versatile nature of carbon, isn't it? So why carbon is different or versatile? The meaning of versatile is unique, special. Okay, so why carbon is versatile in nature? It is because the first point you have to mention is, it has a property called tetravalency. It has a property called tetravalency. That means it is having 4 valence electrons, isn't it? Since it has 4 valence electrons, it can form how many covalent bonds? It can form 4 covalent bonds. Covalent bonds with carbon atoms only, yes or no, or with other atoms, so who are the other atoms here? It can be hydrogen, it can be oxygen, it can be nitrogen, whatever, yes or no. So it is this property which is making carbon special. Okay, see, it can form 4 covalent bonds. The bonds can be formed between carbon and carbon or with some other atoms, and because of this property and another property called catenation, okay, carbon can form huge number of compounds, and crores and crores of carbon compounds are available in our nature. It is all because of these two properties. And what do you mean by catenation? Catenation is nothing but self-linking capacity of carbon. Self-linking capacity. So what do you mean by that? Carbon can link with its own type of an atom to form long chains, or it can form, branched chains, or it can form in the form of a ring, that we call it as ring chains. Yes or no? So it can link it in whatever the way it want. So this property is called catenation. Both are very important here. Okay. And now another point is, carbon cannot make ionic bonds. Yes or no? Carbon cannot form ionic bonds. What is the reason? What is the reason? It is because if carbon has to form ionic bond, either carbon should become as C plus 4 or carbon should become as C minus 4, isn't it? To achieve stability. Whether, forming both the ions is not possible. Forming these two ions is not possible with carbon. It is because, why? It is because carbon is very small in size. The size of the carbon is very small. It cannot lose 4 electrons at a time for the stability, or it cannot gain 4 electrons at a time for the stability. Yes or no? That is the reason these ions cannot be formed with carbon. Since ions are not forming, it cannot make ionic bond with other atoms. Isn't it clear? It can only make covalent bonds. Okay. So what do you mean by covalent bond now? Covalent bond in the sense, a bond that is formed by sharing of electrons. Sharing of electrons. Yes or no? In order to have 8 electrons in the valence shell, carbon will try to share its valence electrons with other atoms. Okay, so that in order to get stability, that is, in order to have 8 electrons in the valence shell, okay, instead of losing gaining business, this guy will try to share the electrons with other guys so that it can have 8 electrons in its valence shell in order to attain stability. Okay, so that is what we mean by covalent bonds. And in our syllabus, we studied how covalent bond is formed with certain examples, isn't it? That is the dot structure. Dot structure is nothing but a diagrammatic way of showing sharing of electrons. Yes or no? Between two atoms, how the electrons are getting shared can be shown in dot structure. Okay, so writing dot structure is also important in this chapter. Clear, everybody? So now let us try to write the dot structures of some molecules which are important. And if you want more details about the dot structures, you can go to a description area and go to the respective link on a dot structure, where I made 2 video classes on a dot structure. I discussed various examples in detail. Okay, and here I am going to mention only few important examples that can be asked in the examination point of view. Okay, fine. Say I will show a dot structure of simple molecule first, that is Cl2. Okay, so how do you write a dot structure for Cl2? You just have to put 2 Cl atoms side to side and mention the valence electrons of Cl around both the atoms. Okay, so how many valence electrons are there in chlorine? There are 7 valence electrons present in chlorine. Yes or no? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and this chlorine also will have 7 valence electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Say to get stability, this chlorine needs 1 more electron. Same case, to get stability, this chlorine also needs 1 more electron. So what happens is sharing business occurs between both of them. Okay. Say these electrons are getting shared. 1 electron from this chlorine, 1 electron from this chlorine is getting shared between them. Okay, that sharing you have to show. Say you should circle the atoms in such a way that in that circle you should show 8 electrons. Okay, so now I will try to circle this chlorine. See, already it has 7 electrons with it. So it want 1 more electron, no, so it will take from this chlorine. This electron this guy is taking. See, in a circle you have 8 electrons. That means these 8 electrons can belong to this chlorine in order to get stability. Okay. So similarly, you have to circle this chlorine also. Okay. Same concept. In a circle, you should show 8 electrons. So how do you show? This is how 7 electrons are already there with it. 1 more it want. So which is that 1 more? This one it will take. So in a circle you are showing altogether 8. Okay, and this region is common for both the chlorines. No, this region is common for both the chlorines. So this region included how many electrons? 2 electrons. 2 electrons will make 1 covalent bond. Okay, so Cl bond Cl. This bond means these 2 electrons. Okay, 1 covalent bond includes 2 electrons. Okay, so this is the bond that is formed between chlorine and chlorine, which we call it as single covalent bond. This is a single bond. Okay, and how many unshared electrons are there? These electrons are unshared. They belong only to this chlorine. Those electrons also you have to mention. Okay, Say this is what the dot structure of Cl2. So similarly, dot structure of N2 molecule. Okay. Say similarly, you have to work it on for N2 molecule. So how do you do? 2 nitrogen atoms you will write side by side. How many valence electrons are there in nitrogen? 5 valence electrons. You know, this idea you should have. Okay, so how many valence electrons are there in which element? This is the basic idea you must know before working with the dot structure. So nitrogen has 5 valence electrons. So I will mention them like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This nitrogen also has 5 valence electrons. So how do I mention? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now that circle, you have to put circle on both nitrogens indicating 8 electrons in the circle. Okay. So already 5 electrons are there. It want 3 more. Which 3 more electrons I can consider to include in a circle? These 3. Okay. So this is how you can circle for this nitrogen. Similarly, you have to show 8 electrons for this nitrogen also. No. Already 5 electrons are there. 3 more it wants. So these are the 3 electrons I am considering for this nitrogen. Got it? Now can you tell me how many covalent bonds are there between nitrogen and nitrogen? See how many pairs of electrons are shared. This is one pair, so one bond. This is another pair, so another bond. This is the third pair, so third bond. Okay. So unshared electrons, here 2, here 2 unshared electrons are there for nitrogen. Okay. And 3 covalent bonds are formed between 2 nitrogen atoms. Yes or no? This is what we call triple bond. This is what we call triple bond. Okay. Say this is what the dot structure of N2 molecule. Now the dot structure of CH4. Okay. CH4 molecule. So how do you write? C is your main element. 4 hydrogens are there. No, mention 4 sides. Okay. Fine. How many valence electrons are there in hydrogen? Just 1. Each and every hydrogen has just 1 valence electron. And the valence electrons of carbon are 4, isn't it? So 4 valence electrons I will mention like this. Okay. And now the circling business. That means you are showing the electrons for a particular element in stable form. Okay. So you have to circle hydrogen. Say hydrogen, when it has 2 electrons, it is stable. It is not that you have to show 8 electrons in the hydrogen. That is not possible. Okay. So 2 electrons you have to show when you circle hydrogen atoms. Okay. So already 1 electron, each and every hydrogen has 1 more electron. You will take it from carbon. Okay. And you know, this is how you are going to circle hydrogen atoms. Okay. Now you have to show 8 electrons around carbon. That means you are circling carbon where you are indicating 8 electrons in it, in that circle. Okay. So already 4 electrons are there with this guy. 4 more it want. So it will take 1 from this hydrogen. It will try to share 1 of hydrogen, this hydrogen's electron, this one and this one. So all electrons you include. So it becomes 8. Isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So this is what the dot structure of CH4. And how do you write? How do you show the bonds? Here 1 bond because 1 pair of electron is shared between this carbon and this hydrogen. Here 1 bond because another pair is shared between this carbon and this hydrogen. The third pair is shared between this carbon and this hydrogen. This is your 4th pair. Yes or no? So this is what the structure of methane. Okay. What is the name of this particular compound? It is called methane. Okay. Similarly, let us try to write the dot structure for ethane and ethyne also. Okay. Dot structure of ethane. Okay. Ethane we all know. First try to write its structure so that it will be easier to draw the dot structure. Clear? Ethane Ethane structure, how do you write? Eth, in the sense 2 carbon atoms, isn't it? And always around the carbon atom you should have 4 covalent bonds. One bond is already there, so 3 more bonds you have to put to satisfy the valency. Yes or no? And these 3 bonds you have to show it with hydrogen. So this is our ethane, isn't it? Now you have to show the dot structure for this molecule. So how do you show? See, observe carefully, 2 carbons I mentioned. Just without the bonds, mention the position of atoms. One hydrogen is here, another one here, third one is here. Again for this carbon you have 3 hydrogens, second one and third one. I didn't mention any bonds, that's it. Okay, so remaining structure wise, basic structure wise is similar. Just bonds are not there, that's it. Okay, instead of bonds, try to mention the valence electrons present in every atom here. Okay, how many valence electrons are there for carbon? 4, isn't it? So 1, 2, 3, 4. This carbon 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And every hydrogen has 1 valence electron. 1, 2. This hydrogen has one more. Here one more. Here one more. And this hydrogen also has one. Now circling thing you have to do. Okay, so whenever you circle hydrogen, how many electrons you have to include? 2 electrons you have to include. So every hydrogen you circle it first. Finish off circling every hydrogen, showing 2 electrons in its circle. Okay, that means circle in the sense here actually shell, 2 electrons in its shell. Fine. And around carbon, how many electrons you should have to show the stability? 8 electrons. Isn't it? So when you circle a carbon, in that circle, 8 electrons should be there. So for this carbon, which are the 8 electrons you will consider? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. 8th electron is this. So including all those electrons, give a big circle for this carbon. Okay, this is how you will circle this carbon. Coming to this carbon, for this also you are giving a circle indicating 8 electrons. So which are the 8 electrons you will include? 1, 2, because they are near, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8th electron is this. This carbon's electron you will take it. Okay, that means it is getting shared. See, this is how you will write a dot structure for ethane. Okay, now you see between the carbons how many electrons are shared? This is a shared area, isn't it? This is a shared area between carbon and carbon. How many electrons are there? 2 electrons. So 1 covalent bond you have put. Okay. And between carbon and hydrogens, see how many electrons are shared? 1 pair of electrons, that is 2 electrons. Here 2 electrons, here 2 electrons, here 2 electrons, here 2, here 2 and here 2. Isn't it? So between every carbon and hydrogen, 1 covalent bond you have shown. Clear everybody? So this is a way of writing dot structure. And now question can be asked in another way also. They will ask you how many covalent bonds are there in ethane? In ethane. Then what is your answer? How many? All these are covalent bonds only. Whatever bonds you are seeing, no, all are covalent bonds only. Just count the bonds here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? So what is your answer here? Answer is 7 covalent bonds are present. 7 covalent bonds are present in ethane. Okay, so this is again one more variety of a question. They'll ask you number of covalent bonds present in a compound. Okay, just write the elaborate structure, count all the bonds present in a molecule. Clear? Fine. And now let us try to write dot structure of ethene. Dot structure of ethene. Okay. So to write the dot structure in this way, first you write the normal structure like this. Ethene, eth in the sense 2 carbon atoms, ene is there, no, that means you should put a double bond between them. and then now satisfy the valency of carbon by putting hydrogens. So around carbon you should have 4 bonds. 2 bonds are already here for this carbon, so 2 more bonds you will put and you will show it with hydrogen. Similarly, these 2 bonds belongs to this carbon also, so it means that this is having 2 bonds already. It also wants 2 more bonds, so you are showing with carbon. Okay, and now what you have to do to write the dot structure? Just without bonds, you put the basic structure. See, 2 carbons are here, and this is having 1 hydrogen, 1 hydrogen, second hydrogen, and here 1 hydrogen, here 1 another. Okay, and now show the valence electrons. Carbon has 4 valence electrons. One I will show here, another one I will show here. Remaining 2 I will show it like this. Okay, fine. And this carbon also has 4 valence electrons. 1 electron here, other electron here, remaining 2 electrons I will be showing like this. Okay, and every hydrogen has 1 valence electrons. Right? So every hydrogen show 1 valence electron. Now that circling thing you have to do. First finish off circling hydrogens. Okay? So when you circle a hydrogen, you will include 2 electrons. These are the 2 electrons you will include. Okay? This hydrogen when you circle, these are the 2 electrons. This hydrogen when you circle, and this hydrogen when you circle, these are the 2 electrons. Okay? And now the next is circling of carbon. Okay, so when you circle a carbon, how many electrons you have to show? 8 electrons, isn't it? See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 2 more electrons from where you will take? From this carbon. So include all the electrons and give a circle for this carbon. This is half. Okay, and now circle this carbon. Okay, this carbon's circle also should include 8 electrons, isn't it? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So include all the 8 electrons and give a circle. Yes, this is what the dot structure for ethene. Okay, and now when you write a structure, see, shared area includes, this is 1 pair of electron and this is another pair of electrons. 1 pair of electrons makes 1 covalent bond. Another pair of electron makes another covalent bond. So you will observe a double bond between carbon and carbon. Okay, and between carbon and hydrogen, only 1 pair of electrons are shared now. So 1 bonds. So this is your ethene. And now the question is, how many covalent bonds are there in this molecule? All bonds are covalent only. Count how many bonds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. In a double bond, you have 2 bonds. Those 2 bonds also you should include. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in ethene, you have 6 covalent bonds. Okay, so they will ask you the number of covalent bonds also. You have to be careful. Okay, and now I will show a dot structure for another different molecule, that is for S8 molecule. Okay, writing a dot structure for S8 molecule. Fine. 8 sulfur atoms are arranged in the form of ring here. See here. Here 1 sulfur atom is there. Here second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one, seventh one, eighth one. Okay. So first 8 sulfur atoms, S8 in the sense 8 sulfur atoms, try to put them in the form of a ring. Okay. Now, how many valence electrons are there in every sulfur atom? Sulfur belongs to 16th group element, isn't it? And there are 6 valence electrons around each sulfur atom. Okay, so show 6 valence electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is how I will show. Okay, for every sulfur atom. Say here also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Otherwise, let me show the dots. Let me show the dots. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And coming to this sulfur, similar way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now, this sulfur atom also 6 valence electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This guy also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And now for this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Otherwise cross. Fine. And for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So I have shown 6 valence electrons around every sulfur. Now circling thing you have to do. Okay. So how do you circle here? Around each sulfur atom you should have 8 electrons. No. Say coming for circling this sulfur. Already 6 electrons are there. 8 electrons you have to show. So 1 electron take it from this sulfur. Another electron take it from this sulfur. Okay. So now I will circle. See how am I circling this sulfur? See here 8 electrons are there in a circle. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Observe 1 electron I took it from this sulfur. Another electron that I wanted I took it from this sulfur. Okay. Like that you should keep on circling every sulfur. So how do you circle for this sulfur? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 are there. You know, 7th electron you will take it from here. 8th electron you will take it from here. Okay, from both the neighbors, one electron you should take. For this sulfur, who is a neighbor? This is a neighbor, this is a neighbor. From this neighbor, it is taking 1 electron. From this neighbor, it is taking 1 electron. Okay, that is sharing actually. Okay, and similarly, this sulfur. Okay, already 6 electrons are there, but it wants 2 more. 1 electron it will take from this neighbor, another electron it will take from this neighbor. Okay, like this. Okay, and coming to this sulfur, like this, like this. Coming to this sulfur, see, like this. Yes or no? See, already 6 electrons there, guys. 1 electron it is taking from this neighbor. Another electron it is taking from this neighbor. Okay, like that from both the neighbors they should take electron. Okay, see like this sulfur, and coming to this sulfur it will be like this. Coming to this sulfur, you know, it has to be like this. Okay, so this is what the dot structure for S8. Okay, and now actually if you have to put the bonds, what will happen? Sulfur is making a single bond with this neighbor, and it is also making a single bond with this neighbor. You see, this is the shared area included 2 electrons, that means 1 bond. This is a shared area included 2 electrons, that means 1 bond. Okay, so 1 bond with both the neighbors they are making. 1, 2, 3, right? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, like this. And unshared pair of electrons are how many on every sulfur? See, this is not shared. These electrons are also not shared. Okay, so 1 pair, second pair, like that 2 pairs of unshared electrons are there on every sulfur. Unshared, they have not been shared. Okay, so this is what the dot structure you can represent for S8 molecule. Okay, in a similar way you can try a dot structure for cyclopentane. Cyclopentane. You know what is the structure of cyclopentane? Pent in the sense what? 5 carbon atoms. Cyclo in the sense they have arranged in the form of pentagon here. Okay, and every carbon already has 2 bonds now. It wants 2 more bonds, show it with hydrogen. Okay, basic structure I have shown you, but for this molecule, you have to show the dot structure. You have to show the dot structure. Fine. This is all about the dot structures for various molecules that you have to remember for examination point of view. Next, we studied about hydrocarbons, isn't it? So, what do you mean by hydrocarbons? Hydrocarbons are organic compounds which are made up of only carbon and hydrogen, isn't it? These organic compounds include carbon and hydrogen. That's it. You will not observe oxygen, you will not observe nitrogen, halogens, etc. Okay. And there are two types of hydrocarbons. One is saturated hydrocarbon, the other one is unsaturated hydrocarbon. So what do you mean by saturated hydrocarbon? Saturated hydrocarbons are those hydrocarbons where you will observe single bonds, okay, single bonds between carbon and carbon. Yes or no? So such guys are called saturated hydrocarbons. Under that, the example is alkanes. They are called as alkanes. And alkanes have a general formula CnH2n plus 2. General formulas are important to remember. Okay, where n is equal to number of carbon atoms. It can be from 1 onwards, isn't it? It can be 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever. Okay, fine. So what were the alkanes we studied? You know, various types of alkanes we discussed, where it is important to know about their formula and structure. Okay, so which is the first variety of alkene here? Methane. Yes or no? What is the formula of methane? CH4. What is the structure? H. All single bonds. Alkanes, you will have all single bonds. Okay, and what is the next variety of alkane? It is ethane. Yes or no? What is the formula? C2H6. And how do you write its structure? Eth in the sense, 2 carbons put side to side indicate a single bond. And now you try to satisfy the valency of carbon. It should have 4 bonds around it. 1 bond is already there. So it need 3 more bonds and show them with hydrogen. Okay. So this is ethane. The third member is propane. Yes or no? How do you write the structure of propane? Prop in the sense 3 carbon atoms. Show it like this initially. Okay, putting single bonds between carbon. And now 3 more bonds it need, because you should have 4 bonds around it now. 1 bond is already there, so 3 more bonds. This carbon already 2 bonds are there, 2 more. And this guy needs 3 more. Isn't it? So this is what we call propane. Like that, you have butane, you have pentane, you have hexane. Yes or no? You have heptane. Like that, you can go on writing a structure. Isn't it? And try to remember their formulas also. If this is ethane, propane is C3H8. You see, just a CH2 difference will be there in the successive members. Okay, say 1 carbon will be more and 2 hydrogens will be more in the next member. So what will be the formula of butane, guys? 1 carbon more, it becomes C4. 2 hydrogens you increase from here. So how much? C4H10. Okay, so formulas, structure you need to remember. And also question can be asked like this. How many covalent bonds are there in propane? Okay, how many covalent bonds are there in butane? Like that they can ask you. So now can you give answer for this question? How many covalent bonds are there in this propane? Just count the total bonds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes or no? So this structure has 9 covalent bonds. Okay, don't forget this covalent bonds. It's important actually. Okay, fine. So that's all about alkanes, isn't it? And coming to unsaturated hydrocarbons. So what do you mean by unsaturated hydrocarbon? You know, you will observe double or triple bonds, okay, between carbon and carbon atoms. Yes or no? If you have a double bond between carbon and carbon, then it is called alkanes. If you have a triple bond between carbon and carbon, you will call them as alkynes. Okay, remember this. ENE, in the name, if you find ENE, it means there is one double bond between carbon and carbon. In the name, if you find YNE, it means there is single bond between carbon and carbon. Okay, and now what is the general formula for alkenes? CnH2n. Okay, and can you write the first member of alkene? First member of alkene is ethene. It is not methane. Okay, say to have a double bond, you should at least have 2 carbon atoms, no? So ethene, eth in the sense 2 carbon atoms, right? So ethene is the first member. And how do you write the structure of ethene here? Structure of ethene, 2 carbons. And what I said, between carbon atoms you have a double bond. Mention a double bond first and then put how many bonds ever you want. Like already 2 are there, 2 more it require, yes or no? So 2 bonds, show it with hydrogen. Same this carbon also, 2 bonds belong to this also, 2 more it needs, so show it with hydrogen. And what is the formula, guys? 2 carbon atoms, C2H, how many? 4. C2H4 is the formula for ethene. Okay, so similarly you can write a structure for propene. Yes or no? How do you write a structure for propene? Prop in the sense 3 carbon atoms, put like this initially. Between any 2 carbons, show a double bond. Okay, I am showing a double bond between the last carbons. You have to show a double bond between the last carbons. You should not show it in the middle actually. Okay, and now between this carbon and this carbon, single bond. And now you try to satisfy the valency of carbon. 4 it should be, 1 is already there, so 3 more bonds, show it with hydrogen. Okay, and this carbon needs how many bonds? 3 are already there, 1 more, show. Okay, this carbon already 2 are there, so 2 more, show it. And can you able to tell me how many covalent bonds are there in propene? Count all bonds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Double bond has 2 bonds, no? You should consider as 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so here also you have 9 covalent bonds. Okay, everybody, fine. And now, can you write the structure for butene? Butene. Okay, so butene is the 3rd member of alkene, remember. And how do you write the structure for butene? But in the sense 4 carbon atoms. So 4 carbon atoms you should write. Between the last 2 carbons, put a double bond. Okay, you can put a double bond between this and this or this and this. But last carbons. And remaining carbons will have a single bond. And rest of the thing is like showing a bonds how many ever you need. 1 bond is already there here, so 3 more bonds. And this carbon require 2 hydrogens, show it. And this one, 1. And here 2. Okay, so this is butene. So this is all about alkenes. Okay. And now coming to alkynes. Okay, so here between carbon and carbon you will observe triple bond. Okay, and which is the first member of alkyne? Ethyne is the first member of alkyne. How do you write its structure? Eth in the sense 2 carbon atoms, and between them you will indicate a triple bond. Okay, so now how many bonds are required for this carbon? Only 1, because already 3 are there. Yes or no? So 1 bond here, 1 bond here. So this is ethyne. What is its formula? C2H2. Okay, and can you able to tell me what is the general formula of alkynes? It is CnH2n minus 2. This is the general formula of alkyne. Okay, and can you write the structure for butane? Butane, you know, but in the sense 4 carbons. Okay, and between the last carbons you have to put a triple bond, and between the remaining carbons it will be single bond only. Now satisfy the valency of carbon by putting the hydrogen atoms. So here one bond is already there, 3 more it need, so 3 bonds, and here 2 bonds are already there, 2 more it requires, so 2, and here 4 are already there, yes or no? 1 2 3 4, 4 is already there on both sides, you have to take it into count, and this 3 are already there, 1 is required. Okay, so this is how you have to write structures for alkynes, alkenes and alkanes, and you must also give an answer when number of covalent bonds are asked. Okay, clear everybody? Fine. And you must know a logic that met in the sense 1, yes or no? Eth in the sense 2, prop is 3, but is 4, pent is 5, hex is 6, hept is 7, oct is 8. Okay, actually based on this idea only you can able to write the structure for whatever the category it is, alkane, alkene as well as alkyne. Okay, so these are 3 important types of hydrocarbons, and you have other types of hydrocarbons also. Say for example, cyclic hydrocarbons. Cyclic hydrocarbons. Okay, say under that the first example you studied was cyclopropane. Yes or no? So how do you write the structure of cyclopropane? Prop in the sense we know 3 carbons. Those 3 carbons are not arranged in this fashion, in this straight chain form. Okay, they have actually arranged in the form of ring like this. Okay, this is how they are arranged. These are bonds between them. Now, how many hydrogens every carbon need? See, 2 bonds are already there for every carbon. It requires 2 more, isn't it? So, put 2 bonds with hydrogen. This carbon also, 2 are already there. So, 2 more it requires. Like this. And what is its formula, guys? C3H. How many hydrogens? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, C3H6 is called cyclopropane. Okay, so similarly cyclobutane. How do you write cyclobutane? But in the sense 4 carbons and they have arranged like this, and every carbon has 2 bonds. Every carbon require 2 more bonds, so you will show the 2 bonds with hydrogen. So directly I am writing actually CH2. CH2 in the sense these 2 hydrogen belong to this. Between hydrogen and carbon there is a single bond. Okay, and similarly cyclopentane. How do you write cyclopentane? Like this. Yes or no? Pentagon. Okay. So every carbon need 2 more hydrogens. Yes or no? Every carbon has already 2 bonds. It need 2 more bonds. So you will be showing with hydrogens. So this is cyclopentane. And similarly, how do you write cyclohexane? Hex in the sense how many carbon atoms? Hex in the sense 6 carbon atoms, no? 6 carbon atoms are arranged in the form of a cyclic way, ring way. Okay, so hexagon 1, 2, 3, 4th carbon, 5th carbon, 6th carbon. Okay, every carbon need 2 more bonds. So for every carbon I am putting 2 hydrogens. Okay, this is called cyclohexane. But if I write like this, see this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, see, 1 single bond, 1 double bond, single bond, double bond, single bond, double bond. Okay, and see every carbon has 3 bonds actually, 1 more bond it requires. So every carbon has 1 bond with hydrogen. You know, this compound is again different. This is different, this is different. Here you see all single bonds only are there between carbons, but here there are some double bonds also. You know, this is called cyclohexane, but this is called as a structure benzene. Benzene. Okay, benzene is an example of aromatic hydrocarbon, isn't it? It is again a different type of hydrocarbon. Aromatic. Okay, these guys have a peculiar smell and they totally have a different characteristics and properties. Okay, they are aromatic hydrocarbon. So this guy is called as benzene. What is its formula, guys? C6H6. And what is cyclohexane's formula? See, 6 carbons are there. How many hydrogens? 2 plus 2, 4, 4 plus 2, 6, 6 plus 2, 8, 8 plus 2, 10, 10 plus 2, 12. So its formula is C6H12. But benzene's formula C6H6. Yes or no? There is a difference. You should make it out. So this is all about hydrocarbons and different types of hydrocarbons. Next important concept in the chapter is structural isomers. So its definition and examples are very, very, very important. Okay. So what do you mean by structural isomers? The compounds having same molecular formula but different in structures. So you have 2 compounds actually. So these 2 will have same formula, same number of carbon atoms and same number of hydrogen atoms, but their structure is different. Okay, so those compounds together we call it as structural isomers. And now let us try to write structural isomers, okay, of butane. Structural isomers of butane. Okay. So you all know how to write a normal structure for butane. Yes or no? The way you know that structure you have to write. But in the sense 4 carbon atoms. Okay. So 4 carbon atoms I am putting in a straight form. And now I will put how many ever hydrogens are necessary for every carbon. Okay. Say carbon has already 1 bond. It need 3 more bonds. So I will show it with hydrogen. And this carbon 2 bonds, it has 2 more bonds. This carbon also 2 bonds, so 2 more bonds I am showing. And here 1 bond is already there, so 3 more bonds. So this is a very basic structure, you all know how to write. Okay, and this butane is actually called as N-butane. Okay, N-butane. Say normal, N means normal. Normal in the sense carbons present in a straight chain form. And another structure I can write for butane, okay, and that is, see, 3 carbons I will show it in a straight form, but 1 carbon I will show it as a branch. Okay, now you put how many ever hydrogens is necessary for every carbon. See, this carbon already 1 bond it has, no, so it need 3 more bonds, so you are putting 3 hydrogens. And second one, this carbon already 3 bonds are there, only 1 hydrogen is required. This guy has 1 bond already, so 3 more bonds with hydrogen. And coming to this carbon, 1 bond is already there, so 3 more bonds it required. Right? So this is another way of writing structure for butane. Okay? And this butane is actually called with the name isobutane. Isobutane. Okay, and can you be able to write the formulas for both the compounds? See, how many carbon atoms? 4. How many hydrogen atoms? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so C4H10 is the formula for N-butane. And what is the formula for this one? C4, 4 carbon atoms. And how many hydrogens? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here also formula is C4H10. See, 2 compounds. This is a different compound. This is a different compound, guys. Both react differently actually, but they have same formula and they have different structure. That is why they are called structural isomers. The name itself says the 2 compounds which have a different structure. That is what the meaning there. Okay, and whenever a question is asked, write the structural isomers of butane, these 2 you have to mention. Many of you will mention only 1. No, when 2 compounds you mention, then only you will call it as isomers. Okay, isomers in the sense 2 compounds. You are studying what is similarity between them and what is difference between them. So similarity as well as difference you have to show by putting their structures and formula. Okay, only one structure if you write, 0 mark will be given in the examination. Keep this in mind. Okay, fine. Now let us try to write the structural isomers for pentane. Okay, structural isomers for pentane. So one is a normal structure, straight chain structure that we have already learned. So how do you write pentane? Pent in the sense 5 carbon atoms. So I'll put 5 carbons side to side indicating single bonds between them. Na means single bonds between carbon. Okay. Now how many other hydrogens are required? One bond is already there. So this guy needs 3 more bonds. So 3 hydrogens, and here 2 hydrogens, and here 2 bonds are already there. 2 more it needs. So 2 hydrogens. Okay. Here 2 hydrogens, and here 3 hydrogens. Okay, and this is actually called N-pentane. I told you, N in the sense it will indicate that the carbons are there in a straight chain. Normal pentane. N refers to normal, means normal structure, basic structure. Okay, and another structure what you can write is, see, 4 carbons in straight chain I will keep it, and 1 carbon I will show it as a branch. You can show this carbon as a branch for this carbon or this carbon. Whichever carbon you show this as a branch, it is similar only. Don't think that another isomer is possible if I show a branch here again. No. Okay. That 5th carbon, when you are showing a branch for this carbon or this carbon, it is similar only. So how many hydrogens are required here? 3 more, isn't it? 3 bonds, and here already 3 are there, 1 bond, so 1 hydrogen, and here 2 hydrogens, here 3, right? And for this carbon 3 more. Okay, so whenever something is there as a branch, you will indicate a word iso. So this is called as isopentane. Isopentane. Okay, then any other way of writing structure is possible? Yes, it is possible. Observe this. I can arrange my carbon atoms like this, highly branched. Yes or no? So now for every carbon, just see whether 4 bonds are there or not around it. For this carbon, 1 bond is there, so 3 more it requires. Yes or no? For this carbon, 1 is already there, 3 more it requires. And for this guy, 1 is already there, 3 more it requires. 1 is already there, 3 more it requires. And for this guy, 4 bonds are already there. So don't put any hydrogens for this. Highly branched. Okay. And this pentane is actually called with the name neopentane. Neopentane. Okay. So these are the 3 structural isomers possible for pentane. See their molecular formula. What is the molecular formula? That means formula. Count number of carbon atoms. C5. How many hydrogen atoms? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right? And the formula for this guy, count and write, you will get C5H12 only. Here also you will get C5H12 only. All 3 structures have same formula, but structure only is different. Okay. So whenever they ask you to write the structural isomers for pentane, all the 3 you have to mention. And any other forms are not possible. Only 3 isomers are possible for pentane. Only 2 isomers are possible for butane. Remember this. How many isomers are possible for pentane? 3. What are they? You should write the structure and show. Okay. So this is all about structural isomers. Coming to the next concept, which we call it as functional groups. So what do you mean by a functional group? These are the special groups which are present in the organic compounds, and these groups are the one which will decide the properties of organic compound. Okay, so now let us go on listing what are the different functional groups that we have in our syllabus. Okay, so the first one is, say, Cl group, which we call it as chloro group. Okay, and if we have Br, we will call it as bromo. Yes or no? Together we will actually call this as halogen group. What group it is? halogen group, because these are the elements that will come in 17th group, and 17th group elements are called halogens. Okay, so these groups are commonly called as halogen group. Okay, and now very special group, OH group. If this group is present in an organic compound, then such compounds are called alcohols. Yes or no? So normally we call it as alcoholic group. Alcoholic group. So where is this group present? Alcohols. Okay, so this particular group is present in what type of organic compounds? Alcohols. Okay, and another group is COH. Okay, and you know, elaborate structure I have written. If I have to join this, I can just call it as CHO group. Carbon, this indicates, you know, this indicates a bond. You know, definitely this group is bonded with carbon atoms which are present in a chain. Yes or no? Fine. So this indicates a bond. Don't think that, don't call it as hyphen. Okay, this is a bond. Definitely between a group and carbon atoms present in a chain of organic compound should have a link through a bond. Yes or no? So that is what this indicates. And between carbon and oxygen, see, double bond is there. Okay, always you have a double bond between carbon and oxygen. Okay, so if I elaborate CHO group, this is what the elaborate form. Okay, and this group is actually called as aldehydic group. Aldehydic group. Okay, and where is this group present? In the type of organic compounds called aldehydes. Aldehydes. All aldehydes will have this particular group. Okay, that's the reason this is called as aldehydic group. And coming to the next functional group, COOH. You see, what is the difference between this group and this group? CO is common. Yes or no? In both the groups you have C double bond O, but here you have hydrogen and here you have OH. Okay, and this is actually elaborate form. If I have to combine all atoms and write, you know, this is normally called as COOH group. And this group is called carboxylic acid group. Carboxylic acid group. Okay, and where is this group present? It is present in a type of organic compound called carboxylic acids. Okay, very important functional group. And another type of group is CO. See, what is the difference between this and this again? Just C double bond O is there. And you know, and two bonds I mentioned here. That means this carbon will link up with two other carbon atoms present in a molecule. Okay, got to know? Fine. And this group is called as ketonic group. This is called ketonic group. And you know, if this group is present in a particular organic compound, then those compounds are called with the name ketones. They are called with the name ketones. Okay, so at least these many functional groups and their names and what is the compound's name if these groups are present, you know, this is a very important concept. Fine. And coming to the next category of a chapter, you know, homologous series, the very next important compound. Same series, you know, same series of compounds which have a difference of just CH2 between the successive members is called homologous series. So you can observe this: CH4, C2H6, C3H8, C4H10. You know, all of them belong to alkane category. Yes or no? This is methane, this is ethane, this is propane, this is butane. You know, all of them belong to same series of organic compound. But what is the difference between this and this? Just here one carbon is extra and 2 hydrogens are extra. That means you have a difference of CH2. Difference between this and this, again CH2. Difference between this and this, again CH2. Difference between this and this, again CH2. Isn't it? So a series of same organic compound where if you find a difference of CH2, then such a series we will call it as homologous series. Okay. So if you want one more example, you see, I'll give a list of alcohols here. CH3OH, first member of alcohol. This is a second member of alcohol. And this is a third member of alcohol. Okay. Third member. What is the difference between this and this? Just this CH2. What is the difference between this and this? Again one more CH2. They all belong to alcohol category. Yes or no? Because you have OH is the functional group, which we call it as alcoholic group. Got it? So such a series of compounds we will call it as homologous series. Okay. And after homologous series, we actually studied about naming of organic compounds. Yes or no? How to name an organic compound. You know, I have very clearly explained about the naming of organic compound. Okay, almost I covered this in 3 videos almost. You can go to a description area and go to the link on naming or nomenclature, where you will find all the detailed rules, okay, that you can apply for naming organic compound. Okay, but few examples, important examples I will show here. Say, question can be asked in 2 ways here. One is, they will give the structure, you will have to write the name. Or they will give a name, you have to write the structure. Both the ways you must know here. Okay, say for the first one, I will give a structure, you have to try naming it. Okay, say the structure is CH3, CH2, CH2OH. See, how do you name this? See, first you will write the prefix. Yes or no? If groups like chloro, bromo is there, you will write their name at first. Later you will write word root. Word root in the sense you will mention the number of carbon atoms which are there in a chain. At the end, that we call it as suffix. Functional group's name you will mention as a suffix. Okay, so this is a pattern of writing a name. So now let us try to write its name. Do you have anything to be written as a prefix here? Only if you have groups like chloro, bromo, their names only you should write it as a prefix. No such groups are there. So directly I will write the middle name, that is word root. How do you write the word root? Okay, first number the carbon atoms. Whichever the carbon that is directly attached to functional group, no, that will get number 1. So 2, 3. 3 carbons are there, no, so prop. And between the carbons you have all single bonds, so ANE. Okay, and finally I should mention the name of this functional group. Okay, say if OH is there, its name is OL, you have to write. If CHO functional group is there, you have to write AL. Yes or no? If COOH is there, you will write it as oic acid. If CO functional group is there, you will write its name as ONE. Okay, and here what functional group is there? OH. So what is the name? OL. Yes or no? So remove this E at the end. In the place of E, you will write it as OL. So its name is propanol. Propanol. Okay, fine. Next one. CH3 COH. Okay, what is its name? What is this group actually? CHO group only, na? Elaborate way they have mentioned in a structure. Okay, and now write its name. How many carbon atoms? You should include this carbon also in numbering. If a functional group has carbon atom, that carbon also will get a number 1. Okay, this is 1, this is 2. 2 carbon atoms are there. So eth. Between carbon atoms you have single bond. So AN. Okay, instead of E, what you will write? This is your functional group, aldehyde group. What is its name, guys? Al. So at the end, you will end the name with Al. So it is ethanol. Okay, and now look at here. I will write one more compound, CH3 COCH3. Okay, what is its name? See, count the number of carbon atoms. 1, 2, 3. 3 carbon atoms, no? So prop. First you have to write the number of carbon atoms. Okay, prop. And between carbon atoms, a single bond only is there. Since double bond is there, writing En wrong. Okay, so A you have to put here. An you have to put because single bonds are there. Between carbon atoms only you should check. Okay, and now what is the functional group? CO. If CO is there, what is its name? ONE you should add at the end. Propanol is its name. Okay, so this is how you have to write the names when structure is given. Okay, and now I will give the name, you have to write the structure. Okay, I will give the name. Say for example, I said butanone. I said butanone. How do you write the structure for butanone? See, take this word root. Okay, this one you concentrate. But in the sense what? 4 carbon atoms, no? So put 4 carbon atoms in the line. An is there. That means between carbon atoms, single bond is there. Okay. And what is the functional group? ONE. ONE means what? C double bond O. Okay. So any carbon you select, middle carbons only you have to select. Okay. And put double bond O. Whenever keto group is there, it will be there in the middle only. You cannot show double bond O for last carbons, end carbons. Okay, you have to show double bond with O in the middle carbons only. This is for which functional group? Only for ketones. Okay, fine. So remaining thing is like satisfy the valency of carbon atoms. How many bonds they require? Say one bond is already there for this carbon. How many more bonds is required? 3 bonds. So 3 hydrogens. Coming to this carbon, 4 bonds are already there. So don't touch. This carbon, it need 2 hydrogens, isn't it? So 2 bonds, so 2 hydrogens. And here this carbon need 3 bonds, so 3 hydrogens. So this is the structure of butanone. Okay. And now next one, ethanoic acid. Ethanoic acid. How do you write its structure? Eth in the sense 2 carbon atoms. Okay. And now concentrate the functional group, oic acid. That means COOH is there. Okay. So among the 2 carbons, one of the carbon is present as COOH. Okay. Got to know? COOH group itself has 1 carbon. So among the 2, 1 carbon you should put it as a functional group. And remaining carbon, 1 bond is already there. It requires 3 bonds, so CH3. This is what we call ethanoic acid. Okay. So this is how you can write the structures when name is given. Okay. And you can able to write the name when structure is given. Both the ways you have to practice. Okay. Say, as I already told you, if you want more details on nomenclature, you can go to the link that is present in a description area where I made 3 videos on naming only with various examples. Okay, fine. So this is about one part of a chapter. So next we will move for chemical reactions of certain important organic compounds. Okay, and there are several important reactions in organic chemistry. So those reactions we are going to study. Coming to different types of organic reactions, mainly we have 4 different types of reactions. Okay, so 4 types of reactions we studied in our syllabus. The first one is combustion reaction. Sir, no, very important. The second one was addition reaction. Yes. And the third one is oxidation reaction. And finally we studied substitution reaction. Substitution reaction. Yes or no? So 4 different reactions. Let us briefly discuss one by one in detail. Okay, fine. First and foremost, combustion reaction. What do you mean by combustion reaction? Burning in presence of oxygen. Yes or no? So always a organic substance can be burned in presence of oxygen, and after burning you will always get carbon dioxide, water and energy. Okay, what do you mean by energy here? Heat and light as products. Yes or no? So what are the examples you will write for combustion? See, CH4, when it undergoes combustion, that means burning in presence of oxygen, you will get carbon dioxide plus water plus heat and light. Okay, so similar way butane also, C4H10, when it undergoes combustion, what do you get? Carbon dioxide plus water plus heat and light together, I can call it as energy. Yes or no? And how do you balance these equations? So this is quite easy only for balancing. Say 4 hydrogens here, only 2 are there. So 2, and here I'll be putting 2. And how do you balance this reaction here? See, actually speaking, 4 carbons, so you'll be putting 4 here, and 10 hydrogens, so you will put 5 here. Yes or no? And like count how many oxygens? 4 2s are 8. 8 plus 5, 13, isn't it? So what you can do, 13 you are getting. So how do you put? Initially, you can put 13 by 2 here. Okay, I'm just showing you a method of balancing such reactions. Okay, say 13 oxygens are there this side. You require 13 oxygen. So you introduce a fraction first, 13 by 2. Okay, later you cannot keep a fraction in a balanced equation. Yes or no? So later multiply the whole equation by 2. See, after multiplying, write the equation again. This will become 2C4H10 plus, this 2, 13 by 2 into 2. This 2 gets cancelled. You will get 13O2, giving you 2 4s are 8 CO2 plus 5 2s are 10 H2O. This is a simple way of balancing such reactions. You are getting 13. When you get an odd number, it's difficult to keep putting a digit. So what you have to do, 13 oxygens you require this side, no? So 13 by 2 you put. Later, to remove this fraction, multiply the whole equation by 2. Okay. So on multiplying, you get this. If you want, you can check. It will be a balanced equation. Okay. So this is a combustion reaction of butane. So this is how you can write combustion reaction. Remember, always in combustion you will get carbon dioxide and water vapor as products along with lots of heat and light. Okay. And here what you should remember is saturated hydrocarbons. Saturated hydrocarbons on combustion, they will give you blue flame. Okay, because they will undergo complete combustion. They will undergo complete combustion. Okay, whereas unsaturated hydrocarbons, these guys will give you yellow sooty flame. Okay, sooty in the sense what? Smoky flame. Okay, because they will undergo incomplete combustion. Okay, that means the reaction will not be complete. Completely the carbon present in the unsaturated hydrocarbon will not be converted into carbon dioxide. Okay, actually hydrogen present in the compound is getting converted into water. Carbon is getting converted into carbon dioxide. Okay, say complete combustion happens in case of saturated, so you get a clear blue flame, whereas the entire amount of carbon present in unsaturated compound may not get converted into carbon dioxide. Okay, so that is what we call incomplete combustion. If that happens, you will get yellow sooty flame. Okay, and even saturated hydrocarbons, Okay, when you supply limited amount of oxygen, okay, see, always some amount of oxygen is required for combustion. If you don't supply that much amount of oxygen, even these guys also will give you yellow sooty flame. Remember guys, okay, normally saturated guys will give you blue flame, but when you don't supply enough right amount of oxygen, you know, even those guys also can lead to yellow sooty flame. That's why, you know, burners, gas cylinder, gas stoves burners, sometimes when they are blocked, you know, oxygen gas cannot be passed, it cannot be supplied very nicely to the butane. So when it burns, you know, initially you will observe that yellow flame. Smoky flame you will observe, that is why vessels also will become black at the bottom. Yes or no? So a famous question is there in hydrocarbons, like in this chapter. Why does the vessels will become black? Okay, sometimes when it is kept on a gas stove. It is because incomplete combustion of butane. Cooking cylinder has butane. Okay, so it combines with oxygen, so it is giving that blue flame which you are using for cooking. And you know, how is that oxygen entering to the butane? You know, through the burners, through the small holes. If the holes gets blocked, oxygen cannot nicely pass through the holes to meet butane for the reaction. Yes or no? That point of time, you know, complete combustion will not happen. So what type of flame you will get? Yellow sooty flame you will get. Sooty, smoky, smoke in the sense black color. So that's the reason when you keep a vessel on such a stove, yellow sooty flame containing stove, you know, bottom of the vessel will become black. Okay, it is all that smoke. Yes or no? Black color smoke. So this is what the famous question actually. So that's all about the combustion reaction. Okay, and coming to the next variety of reaction, that is oxidation. So what do you mean by oxidation reaction? Say one famous example we studied for oxidation reaction. Yes or no? CH3CH2OH. What is this? Ethanol. Ethanol. It can get converted into CH3COOH. Yes or no? What is the difference between ethanol and what is this guy called? Ethanoic acid, isn't it? Ethanoic acid. You see here, one oxygen extra I added, and you know, these two hydrogens we have removed. In the place of these two hydrogens, one oxygen we have added. So addition of oxygen and removal of hydrogen took place in organic compound. Such a reaction is called as oxidation reaction. Okay, so such a reaction is called oxidation reaction. Okay, and oxidation always takes place in presence of oxidizing agent. Okay, so which one do you use it as an oxidizing agent? Normally, alkaline or acidified KMnO4 or alkaline K2Cr2O7, isn't it? Potassium permanganate, potassium dichromate. Okay, these guys will help for oxidation to occur. Okay, why do we use it here? For this process to occur. Okay, so these guys will help for oxidation to occur. Okay, that is why they are called oxidizing agents. That means the agents which will help for the oxidation to happen. What is oxidation? Addition of oxygen and removal of hydrogen. Okay, so this is all about oxidation reaction. Addition reaction. Okay, so what do you mean by addition reaction? You know, first and foremost, what you have to remember is addition reaction can happen only for unsaturated hydrocarbons. Unsaturated hydrocarbons will only show addition reaction. Okay, so what is the example you have learned here? Say I had unsaturated hydrocarbons. Let me take ethene as an example. Okay, say when I add hydrogen in presence of nickel catalyst. Yes or no? Nickel catalyst. What happens? This double bond will break. One hydrogen is added here. Another hydrogen is added to this carbon. So what is the compound you will get? H, H, H. Double bond will become single bond. So 3 hydrogens for this. So this is becoming ethane. Okay. So ethene is becoming ethane on adding hydrogen. Okay, and here we will take the help of some atom that is nothing but nickel, which is used as a catalyst. Okay, catalyst is the one which makes the reaction faster actually. Okay, and here we studied one more concept, that is hydrogenation of oil. Yes or no? Some application point based on this reaction. See, oil in the sense what? Unsaturated hydrocarbons. Unsaturated hydrocarbons are the ingredients in oil. And when you do hydrogen addition for this oil, hydrogenation in the sense addition of hydrogen. In presence of a catalyst, nickel. What happens? Our unsaturated guys will get converted into saturated guys. Yes or no? So here unsaturated hydrocarbon will automatically become saturated hydrocarbon, and this saturated hydrocarbon itself we call it as Vanaspati ghee. Vanaspati ghee. This is in solid form. Saturated one is in solid form, unsaturated is in liquid form. Yes or no? And among unsaturated and saturated, which is more safe? You know, these guys are always more safe. And these guys, Vanaspati ghee, saturated hydrocarbons, whichever are there, actually they don't react. Once it enters into the human body, you know, these guys, they won't undergo digestion process, so they will be stored as a fat inside a human system. Got to know? That's the reason these guys are actually very, very dangerous. They are dangerous. See, by what reaction we are converting unsaturated hydrocarbons into saturated hydrocarbon? By addition reaction. Yes or no? What we have added? Hydrogen. Unsaturated guys will have double bonds like this. So wherever double bond is there, their hydrogen atoms are getting added. The double bond is becoming single bond. That means unsaturated guys are becoming saturated. You know, this kind of reactions we will call it as addition reaction. Coming to the last type of organic reaction, which we call it as substitution reaction. Yes or no? What do you mean by substitution reaction? What is the famous example we studied? Say we had methane. Yes or no? And when you add chlorine in presence of sunlight, what happens? One of the hydrogen atom will get substituted with chlorine atom here. So instead of hydrogen, who will come? Chlorine atom. Among the two, one chlorine atom will come and occupy the position of one hydrogen. So what you will get? CH3 bond with Cl. And what is another product you will get? This H will combine with one more Cl, so it will come out as HCl. And this substitution can happen only in presence of sunlight, remember. And substitution reactions are shown by saturated hydrocarbons. Saturated hydrocarbons. Okay, unsaturated hydrocarbons will not show substitution reaction. Saturated hydrocarbons will not show addition reaction. This is important point to be noted. Okay, addition reactions are only shown by unsaturated hydrocarbons. Substitution reactions are only shown by saturated hydrocarbons. Okay, so this point of a difference, try to remember. Fine. So these are the different types of reactions that can happen with organic substances. And now we will learn about two important organic compounds. One is ethanol, which we also call it as alcohol, right? The other one is ethanoic acid. Ethanoic acid. Okay, it is also called as acetic acid. Acetic acid. Where is this acetic acid present? This acetic acid is present in vinegar. Vinegar. Okay, so usually 5% of ethanoic acid. 5% of ethanoic acid is called vinegar, which we will use it in cooking, in bakeries. Yes or no? So about these two guys we have to study in detail. I mean to say, they have certain chemical reactions. Those chemical reactions are important to be remembered. Now we will see the chemical reactions of ethanol. Okay, later we will go for chemical reactions of ethanoic acid. Okay, coming to the chemical reactions of ethanol. See, I am talking about chemical properties of ethanol. Under that, first one is reaction with sodium. Reaction with sodium. Okay, so ethanol, what is the formula? CH3 CH2OH. This is called ethanol, alcohol. Okay, when it reacts with sodium, what happens is, usually ethanol is acidic in nature. We all know any type of acid will always give hydrogen gas outside. Yes or no? Whenever acids react with a metal, what do you get? Salt and hydrogen gas we will get. Same thing happens here. Okay, this guy is acidic in nature. So the moment it reacts with a metal like sodium, you will get salt and hydrogen gas. Okay, so how do you get a salt? You see, this is what the hydrogen comes outside. In the place of this hydrogen, sodium comes, and that itself we will call it as a salt. See, CH3 CH2ONA. This is what the salt that is formed. Okay, and this H will come out as H2 gas. And how do you balance this? See, two hydrogens, but here, you know, one hydrogen only. To make two hydrogens here, you know, you will put two here. Yes or no? So here is 2, here is 2, and salt is 2. This is called sodium ethoxide. This is called sodium ethoxide. Fine. This is one of the important reaction of alcohol. And the next important reaction is dehydration reaction. Dehydration reaction. Okay, very important. See, CH3. I'll write the structure elaborately. H, 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 CH2OH. This is your ethanol. This is your ethanol, isn't it? And this ethanol, I will heat it in presence of concentrated H2SO4. Okay, what happens is water molecule will come out from this ethanol molecule. How does water comes outside? See, this OH and one of the hydrogen of this carbon comes outside. So if these two guys are coming out as water, what is remaining? Here what is remaining? Carbon with two hydrogens, single bond, and here CH2. OH has gone out in the form of water, right? And see here, does the valency of carbon satisfied here? This only elaborately if I write H, 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 H. Is the valency satisfied? See, this carbon has only 3 bonds. This carbon also has 3 bonds. So to satisfy their valency, what I'll put? I'll put double bond. Okay. So what is the product you are getting? Ethene you are getting. And what is one more product? H2O is one more product. Okay. And here, what is the purpose of concentrated sulfuric acid here? it will actually acts as dehydrating agent. Dehydrating agent. That means the substance which helps in the removal of water. Simply, this guy will not lose water. Only in the presence of the sulfuric acid, this loss of water can happen. To get ethene, okay, ethanol is getting converted into ethene. So these are the two reactions that you have to compulsorily remember about ethanol. Now we will go for studying the reactions of ethanoic acid. Ethanoic acid mainly shows 4 important reactions. All the 4 are very, very important. Under that, the first reaction is reaction with base, isn't it? So the base I take here is NaOH. Okay, why it can react with the base here? Since this is an acid, the name itself says it is acid. So acids always react with the base. So what are the products you will always get? Salt and water. So the same thing happens here. Okay, say for example, CH3COOH. This is your ethanoic acid. So the moment it reacts with NaOH, what happens is, this H and this OH will come outside as water. Okay, so what is remaining here? CH3COO. This H has gone out as water, and what is remaining here? Na. So this is what the salt you will get along with water. Okay, see, acid is reacting with the base, you are getting salt and water. So the name of this salt is sodium ethanoate. Sodium ethanoate we will call. Fine. The next reaction is a similar reaction which all acids shows. Okay, that is reaction of acid with sodium carbonate and bicarbonate. Do you remember that reaction? What are the products you get in that case? Salt, water and carbon dioxide. Same thing here. Okay, reaction with sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate. Okay, so how do you write the reaction here? CH3COOH plus sodium carbonate. You get salt, carbon dioxide, water. Which salt you will get? The same salt you will get. Okay, what is the salt here? CH3COONA plus CO2 plus H2O you will get. Okay, so similarly it can react with sodium bicarbonate also. Okay, even with bicarbonate you will get these guys as products. Okay, so these are the 2 common reactions which all acid shows. No special in that. Okay, but the third reaction is very, very important, which we call it as esterification reaction. Esterification reaction, isn't it? So what do you mean by esterification? What happens here is ethanoic acid, that is CH3COOH. What is this? Ethanoic acid reacts with alcohol, one molecule of alcohol. Which alcohol I will take? Ethanol I will take. Okay, so ethanol I will write it ulta, guys. Ethanol, no, I will write it ulta, just to show the reaction conveniently. That's it. Okay, instead of writing CH3CH2OH this way, I wrote it ulta. What happens here is, this is what? Ethanol. And both the guys will try to react with each other in presence of concentrated H2SO4. Concentrated H2SO4. What happens here is, H from this acid, always acids give hydrogen ion, hydrogen atoms, isn't it? So that is a property of acid. That is what the definition of acid we have learned. The one which is giving H plus ion is called acid. So acid from, hydrogen from acid and OH from alcohol will come out as byproduct. water. Okay, what is remaining? CH3, COO. I'm showing a simple way of writing a product here. You don't need to mug up actually. Okay, so if you can remember this, the product writing would become more easy. So CH3, COO is remaining. This side what is remaining? This would have gone out, this would have gone out, and this side what is there? Bond you put CH2, CH3. Okay, so we will call this as ester. What is this? Ester. Okay, along with the ester, what is the byproduct you will get? Water. Okay, and actually this is a reversible reaction. Okay, opposite also can happen. Ester and water can react and you will get back this also. So when reaction is happening in both the sides, we indicate like this: concentrated sulfuric acid. In presence of this only this reaction can happen. Okay. And the fourth important type of reaction is saponification. Saponification. Yes or no? What do you mean by saponification? The same ester, I will take the ester CH3, COO, CH2, CH3. Okay. Ester on reacting with NaOH, you will get, what actually happens? See here, here Na will get added. Okay, there is a bond here. Yes or no? There is a bond here. See, there is a bond here. This bond will break. This side Na will get added and this side OH will get added from NaOH. So what is the product you will get? CH3COO Na. This is one salt you are getting plus CH3CH2OH. CH3CH2OH. Okay, alcohol you are getting. See, just opposite of esterification reaction is called saponification. Okay, so you are taking ester, this bond, this bond you are breaking, this side Na you are adding, this side OH you are adding. So you are getting CH3COO bond Na, one product. CH3CH2OH is another product. Okay, so this is what we call saponification. So these are the four reactions of ethanoic acid, which is very important to understand. Now we will go for soaps. Okay, what do you mean by a soap? What is a soap? Sodium or potassium salt of long chain carboxylic acid. Yes or no? Long chain carboxylic acid is called soap. And I gave you one example for soap. C17H35COONA is one example for soap molecule. See, sodium salt of long chain carboxylic acid. See, carbon atoms, 17 carbon atoms are there in connected with each other to form a long chain. Okay, so this is what we call a soap. And what is important about soap is its cleansing action. Its cleansing action. Okay, so how does a soap will clean? That is important. See what happens here, normally the same molecule we represent it like this. Yes or no? C17H35 part we will call it as tail. This part I can mention like this. COONA part I will write diagrammatically like this and I will call it as head. Okay, and we know the property head is more attracted. It is more attractive towards water. Yes or no? Attractive to water. And this is not attracted to water. This is not attractive to water. Okay, the same soap molecule diagrammatically I mentioned C17H35 part is this much, head part is this much. Okay, and this part doesn't show attraction with water. This part shows more attraction with water. Okay, so what happens? Imagine this is your cloth. Okay, here dirt is there. Okay, when the cloth is rubbed with a soap, so many of these molecules are present in a soap. Okay, so all these molecules will come towards a dot and they will get arranged like this. Okay, tail is getting attached to a dot and head is facing outside. Okay, head is facing outside. Okay, so many soap molecules will come and surround. Okay, see, tails are attached to a dirt particle. Okay, and heads are protruding outside, they are facing outside. You know, such structures we will call it as miscellae. They are called as miscellae. Okay, the more miscellae are formed, more easily dirt can be removed. So what happens once the miscellae are formed? Again you will flush with water, flush the cloth with water. Yes or no? And I told you head part is more attracted towards the water. So as you flush with the water, head part will move with water. Head is connected to a tail, so tail also will move with water. Tail is connected to a dirt, so dirt also can be flushed away with water. You know, this is what you have to write when cleansing action of soap is asked. And one point you have to remember is soap do not work in hard water. Soap do not work in hard water. Okay, so why soap do not work in hard water? Due to scum formation. Due to scum formation. What is that scum formation? Say, you know the soap molecule C17H35COONA. Hard water will have a dangerous ion called calcium ion. Okay, what happens here is this calcium will get replaced with sodium. In the place of sodium, calcium comes. So what do you get? C17H35COOCA. Yes or no? This is what we call scum. Okay, sodium freely it will come outside. And it is no more a soap. This guy cannot form miscellae. Only when sodium is there and when a soap is there in this form, miscellae can be formed. When miscellae are formed, only then cleansing action takes place. That foam you will get. Okay. See, now in a hard water, since the soap has converted into something else. What is that something? Scum. Scum is actually white PPT. Okay. Say, now this guy cannot make miscellae. So soap will not work in hard water. Okay. And we also studied about detergents in our chapter. Okay. So what are detergents actually? They are also sodium or potassium salts of sulfonic acids. Okay. Sulfonic acids. These guys are, soaps are salts of carboxylic acid. But detergents are salts of sulfonic acid. Okay, sulfonic acid in the sense this group, if this functional group is present in organic compound, we will call it as sulfonic acid. Okay, and they are quite harder than soaps actually. And these guys can work in hard water also. These guys can work in hard water also. Okay, so you must know the differences between soaps and detergent. Okay, so that's all about the chapter carbon and its compounds. And you know, this chapter can only enter into your head when you practice it thoroughly. All the chemical equations you have to understand, analyze, write and practice. Only then it can become easy. Okay, so thank you so much. And if you like our video, please like, share and subscribe our channel for more updates. Thank you.